Hello again, Steve here with a few words on a word I came across today. I've come across it many times. The word is contemplate. And I think it's an important word for us if we're interested in discerning truths as best we can, because it is, well, in the origin of the word, it basically means means basically with. And then the templation is the little distraction there. It comes from, I guess, around the root of the word temple, which means like a defined location. It meant to look at or observe, or to, of course, mental contemplation would be to observe mentally. And if we think of, if we first of all see, if we liken the mental contemplation to, you know, visual contemplation, if I look at these keys and I really observe them, I get a sense of the best observation, definition in terms of observation as I can, if I'm really take the time to look at this and nothing else, right? I see there's writing on the back of the fob here, and a couple of buttons, and I see the various different keys and the different colors and the textures, and so have plastic heads on them and so on. So I get a clearer picture of what is truthful, right? And I think it's the same with mental contemplation, if somebody throws us something at us, just like if somebody tosses us the other day, my daughter had this backpack which she stuffed full of basically nothing, and it looked like a heavy backpack, and she had fun tossing it at somebody, and you think it's going to weigh about 10 or 20 pounds when it hits you, but it weighed like a feather. And so that's kind of like the non-arguments, or the nonsense that people throw at us. Sometimes it's dressed up like it has some substance, but when we actually encounter it through our mental contemplation, we realize that it's nothing. In the same way that if somebody was to tell you, uh, you know, over the phone or something like that, that the keys looked a certain way, they said, oh, they're all red and they weigh 10 pounds and so on, that you would then maybe mentally contemplate this, or conjure this concept of them. But when you actually ended up with them and you observe them, it would be counter to that, and your contemplation would be more real than what you were told, right? And I think this is important for us too, in terms of our concepts that we have that were fed to us through maybe people who didn't reason it out or something like that. And when we actually take the time to contemplate these ideas, big ideas, politics, religion, relationships, nutrition, what it is that we could do as a career, and, as opposed to what the guidance counselor told us in high school. All of these things, when we take the time to fully examine them, and using visual examination as a metaphor, or as a simile sort of thing of being able to see, we can also learn how to see mentally through connecting evidence, connecting reasoning, and formulating sound argument for something, whether something is logically consistent. Whereas, if somebody gives us all these ideas, and they're as lightweight as that little backpack my daughter had, with just no substance to them, just all assertions and a bunch of, emotional windbaggery and historical nonsense, in that context anyways, then I think that contemplation serves us. If we're able to see through all that stuff and get to the real weight of something, whether it has substance or it doesn't, or what degree of substance it has. I think it helps our quality of life, because at the end of the day, our contemplation, our consistency of contemplation leads us to a more honest conclusion of what it is that we're looking at or we're concluding. So, a few words on contemplation. I think it's important. I think that many of us myself included, could do more of it and be more honest as a result. Anyway, great chatting. Hope to do this again.